Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have quite a few things to get to go and talk about over here when it comes to the PlayStation 5 Pro. Specs actually performing a little bit better, and as well just the overall vibe that I think most people are pretty happy so far with their first impressions on the PlayStation 5 Pro. As you guys probably have had a chance to know, the PlayStation 5 Pro is officially out, and that does mean that people have now had a chance to have their consoles, play with their consoles, unbox their consoles, play different games, and we had a lot of early leaks when it comes to the console themselves on the channel, so thank all of you guys who have watched or subscribed from all of that. And right now, it does seem like a lot of people are still pretty happy with the console. We made a video as of yesterday, basically discussing and talking about the fact that some people are pretty upset about the fact that some of these games are not hitting 60 FPS. Some of the big sloggier games, such as Elden Ring and all these other various bigger games that have just big, just CPU usages and GPU usages, and they're just not able to fully go and hit that, like, let's say FF16, they're not able to go fully hit that 60 FPS properly framed everything else out there. But right now I'm going to do the reverse side because I kind of want to let one video kind of cook on the negatives of it. I've been trying to be somewhat apparent with the idea that the console itself's not going to be some groundbreaking crazy thing, but I still do think the PSSR and the overall ray tracing are somewhat worthwhile when it comes to people buying the consoles and getting their consoles. So it's kind of our reverse side where it seems like actually a lot of people seem pretty happy with the overall vibe of the consoles themselves. And we're going to go talk about some of the games, kind of highlight some of the stuff. I do want to remind everyone, though, as we talked about in prior videos, some games will not be as perfect. Some games may not have as much teams or support or incentivization to optimize or fully run games out well, and that's why we kind of have a big list of supported PlayStation 5 Pro games, and we've seen like press things like Alan Wake and Resident Evil, etc. And some games out there may not actually care. It's kind of a bonus stuff. They have to utilize their ray tracing and utilize the PSSR and utilize these day one patches and utilize machine learning to make it better. But so far, I think a lot of people are pretty happy and hyped up with their console so far, especially after doing all this testing as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed. We are going out a PS5 Pro. Subscribe over here. That'll be ending in the somewhat nearest future. I'll probably have a more update for that one. I have a few more weeks for it, so you guys know for the holiday season. I'll get all your bonus entries linked down below. We have the Twitters down below too as well, the Twitch if you guys want to follow. And of course, if you guys are going to buy your own PS5 Pro, use the affiliate links down below if you guys want to support me on up. So as I mentioned, we've kind of been watching and looking at a lot of various big gameplay changes. First and foremost, we have now been seeing the fact that if you go and maybe we kind of highlight some of these gameplays, say for Resident Evil, where Resident Evil, utilizing the PS5 Pro, have been able to go and run a very consistent, at this point, 70 plus FPS when it comes to their Resident Evil testing. And as well, that is also with ray tracing and hair physics and all these additional things with the fire and lighting elements and everything else with that. And it basically does go to show that some of these games are pushing and performing better than expected, which I think is fantastic. I think that's awesome. And as well, if they do want to go utilize things like ray tracing, which don't forget, ray tracing is also somewhat of a higher end thing. This is more so the ray tracing pictures you guys know. So I think I may mess it up, but basically 100 frames for the normal ray tracing off, but it's still utilizing the PS5 Pro performance, still utilizing PSSR, etc. And then 70 with ray tracing on. Sorry if I think I may have misspoken that one, but just clarification. So basically showing that either way, it's still over a solid 60 FPS, which seems like the big major goal that most people want. 30 and 60 is usually the big goals when it comes to the baseline performances, and for this, it's actually blowing it out of the water, doing very well on both ends, and even with all these big add-ons like PSSR, ray tracing, etc., games like Resident Evil have had a chance to go and completely explode in quality, performance, and just overall making the game look phenomenal. And we've also had other examples too, such as Stellar Blade, which have just, everyone's saying that's like one of the more phenomenal games out there. So do keep that in mind, although we have seen some issues with, say, like Wukong, Elden Ring, which are more on the third-party side from Software, etc. Some of the games that are more closely intertwined with PlayStation, which is why I think a lot of people are surprised that FF16 kind of had somewhat slogging performances, are doing great. Like a lot of these games that are now kind of tied out in are showing off great, fantastic versions of this one. A good example, too, as well as even on Dragon's Dogma 2 as well. We're going to show over here for the PS5 Pro on both the ray tracing and PSR qualities over here, which once again, both look great. It does seem like it's still having a lot of slowed issues, and this is where we kind of touched on the fact that some of the games will have CPU issues. There's a lot of stuff going on in a game, a lot of things in code, a lot of rooms, environments, places, whatever it might be, that does lead towards those issues. But at the same time, something like the PS5 Pro is still running, as you guys can see, a solid 60 FPS utilizing this, which is awesome. This is very nice. Now, obviously, if you want to go put more of those additional things, which I can even see the difference, even on color shading, etc., it still does go and slow down the performance and makes the average 49 FPS, which is why we made that video where some people might be discussing that or upset about that or whatever it might go and be. But at the same time, I still think it's a noticeable noticeable improvement. And if you just compare it to the baseline PS5 itself, which is what you should be comparing it to, it is an improvement. You compare it to the Xbox Series X, it is an improvement. If you have a comparable PC at that same price range, it will without a doubt be an improvement. Although if you compare it to, say, a $2,000 PC, the $2,000 PC will most likely win, which is the whole reason why it's like a bonus. You don't 100% need to go do something with the PS5 Pro. It's just a bonus, nice feature if you guys want to have it and deal with it. But either way, it kind of goes to show that we are noting and seeing this proper improvement increase. And we're going to maybe go dive in a little bit more over here for, say, Horizon, which we're going to have this be in the background over here. All these credits will be down below too as well, in case you guys do want to go and see it. This regards now for the PS5 Pro, where most people out here are saying that this is some of the best looking games they've ever seen in their entire lives. This in regards now from the PS5 to PS5 Pro, and some of this stuff is probably the best things to look at. Look at the colors, look at the lighting, look at the details, look at the environment. Horizon probably is one of the best games for us to have a comparison on to see what is good, what is bad, what is ugly. And this is probably the best one to see as a night and day difference. Although there is some lighting changes, don't get me wrong, which may also partially affect it on it, but let's look in the same areas and environments. This really is a pretty big, in my opinion, night and day difference. Although once again, it is a PS5 to PS5 Pro, not PS5 to PS6. So also please keep that in mind. But certain games out here are running a lot better, and we've kind of always tried to push this idea and narrative on the channel where PlayStation 5 Pro games are obviously going to be running very nice on any PlayStation game. It's the biggest duh out there. And if they're going to be supporting PlayStation 5 Pro games, as we mentioned, there will be improvements. You will see better ray tracing, better PSSR, better frame rate, better optimization. But that's why we want to have that big warning that there are going to be certain games such as, say, Black Myth Wukong or Elden Ring, which will still see improvements. The overall internal specs are better. There will be an improvement no matter what. If that's what you're looking for, it will happen. But this, to me, still seems like a big night and day difference, although, once again, it might be harder to go and see on a video itself. But this is why you want to get the PS5 Pro. For games such as Horizon, games such as, like, say, God of War, Spider-Man, and why we've also kind of incentivized folks who've never gotten a PlayStation 5 yet to go and buy one, because this is dope. This is cool. This is what we want to go and see at the end of the day, and that's why I'm happy to see it. Especially when it comes to this stuff, because some of this will be also it'll still look nice, but also have the extra 30 frames. But I could also, once again, as we talked about in the prior video, understand why some people might be upset if they don't have the full-line 60 FPS with it, if it slogs down to like a 45 or 50, but that's some more of a game opinion. But look at the night and day difference. Whether it's even just on the color scaling and the game looks darker, bro, this looks like an absolute night and day difference when it comes to these games as a whole. And they both look good. Like the PS5 itself, this looks good. Don't get me wrong. But like if you look at this stuff with the PS5 Pro, it does just add these little PSSR elements that make it look great. So even if some of the frames are slightly lower, the lighting, the coloring, the realism, it really does feel like a completely different game itself, as you guys can look in these two comparison photos, especially in regards now to Horizon Forbidden West. I think it looks phenomenal. I think it looks dope. And look at all the background, look at all the environments, look at everything. Like, I think this looks very, very, very clean. And just based on how like the lighting effects lie, it does feel like you're pretty much playing a completely different game, which at the end of the day is also pretty nice and pretty cool. I don't know, I'm kind of yapping on this one, but I do think a lot of the first impressions that people have seen, say from Alan Wake, say from Horizons we're watching throughout this video, and comparison-wise from Joke's video, like it is a big, big difference on, well, everything. And I'm trying to go highlight all these special pages for all of you guys because I want you guys to go and see this. I want you guys to see the differences and all this type of stuff. And once again, frame rate. This is a good example right here where the game might look the same, but it's not going to feel the same. So I kind of brought up the people worried about frame wise, because if you're a PC guy, you can probably feel a difference from a 80 FPS to like a 45, or like even a 45 to like a 25. Even a 30 to like an 18, you will feel that. So that's kind of a big deal for everyone to kind of go and, I guess, sort through and feelize when it comes to most of these games as a whole. I don't know. I do think the console itself does look nicer. I do think the specialized games that are supporting with by PSSR and such, as I mentioned, do make this console pop. It is, don't forget, still a bonus. It's a want rather than a need, and there will still be a bigger difference probably from the Xbox Series X to Xbox, their next generation, or even the Switch to Switch 2. or even say probably even say the PS5 Pro to the PS6. But at the same time, this is a bonus console, and so far from everything we've had a chance to go and see, it does look and feel a lot nicer, and I do think people might be a little bit, I don't know, maybe throwing it at the bus quicker than they probably should. Although if you do have a PS5, you just want to stick with that, you don't want to spend the extra money, 100,000,000% okay, don't feel bad about it, and either way, I'm cool if you guys have been enjoying the videos and my takes on all the stuff down below. So I appreciate you guys, just for watching. Appreciate you guys so much for chilling. Let me know if you guys got your console. You guys did not. Subscribe if you guys are new. Subscribe for the PS5 Pro giveaway if you guys just want to spend the money on. I'll hook you guys on up. We have the bonus giveaway links down below and all the affiliate links too as well. If you just want to pick up your own consoles and support me on up, I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place.